Hey guys, welcome to my YouTube channel. I thought I'd make a channel just to start documenting all the photography that I'm into, as well as some videography. Just gonna be like traveling and stuff like that. I thought that I would make this first video as like an intro to kind of like what I'm gonna be getting into. This is kind of just the intro. One of the focuses of this channel is gonna be film photography. I recently bought a Canon AE1. This is it right here. It's a great camera, very durable. I'll talk about it a little bit in a second. But I also just wanted to address the fact that like film is making a pretty big comeback. A lot of people are getting into it. There's a lot more pictures about it, but a lot of people are using like disposable cameras. I personally don't prefer that. I'd rather have more choice over my settings and that type of thing. But a big reason that film is coming back is kind of because it's retro. One thing that people do really like is the grain. I thought that I would start with the photography basics, kind of how a camera works, just as like the start of this channel. A couple things to keep in mind when you are using a camera, especially if you're a manual. You're going to want to use aperture, shutter speed, and ISO. Those are all like the basic settings. You kind of have to know what you're doing when you're in film photography. You can't just delete a picture and take another. You have like a certain amount of pictures or film that you can use, and so you have to be pretty strategic about what you're going to do. So the way the aperture works is it's basically the opening in the camera lens that lets the light in. You can change that to let different amounts of light come in, which will then change how dark or bright your picture will be. Now the shutter speed shows how fast the picture is taken, or like the speed of the camera. So if you have a fast shutter speed, you're going to want to use that for more like racing events, sports, something that's fast motion, that type of thing. You're going to want to use a slower shutter speed for more of darker settings, like if you're wanting to take a picture of the stars or like a gas station in the dark, or something along those lines. Lastly, we have ISO, which is kind of confusing. The best kind of way to like describe it is like the speed of the film. If you're using a film camera, or like just the light that is again let into the camera. It's another like light sensor or light controlling aspect to the camera. Now on the old film cameras there is ASA, which is basically the same thing as ISO. I guess it's just with film. I couldn't really find a reason why. Next I want to show how a film camera works, and so I have like a tutorial. So in this camera tutorial I'll be showing you how to load a film camera. The way to open a film camera is that you're going to pull this little lever on the top left. You're going to pull it up. There's going to be a clicking sound. The back of the camera will then open up, and this is where you're going to load the film in. In order to load the film in, you're going to want to take it out of your container or box or whatever you have it in. After you get your film out of the canister, you will then put it in the left side of the camera. From there, you will pull some film out and slide it into this slit. Make sure that it is connected on the inside so that you can wind your film. In order to wind the film, you just pull the lever to the right and make sure it's secure. From there, you'll put the back of the camera back on it and push the shutter button on the right, and then push down the silver gadget on the left. Notice that there is a little right underneath the button. You're going to make sure that you wind and press the shutter button a couple times in order for the little hash mark to reach 0. That is when you know you're able to shoot film, and that it is not affected by the light leaks from when you are loading the film. You also use the silver gadget on the left to wind up the film. You wind it in the direction that the arrow is pointed, and then again pull up, and you can unload your film that way. Right now, the concept of how a film camera works: the light comes in through the lens, bounces off the reflector, and then hits some chemical paper, otherwise known as film. And so that is what your picture is going to be like captured to. It kind of, the light stains the film. So basically, the light stains the film when it is let through the lens, and all the different light settings like ISO, aperture, shutter speed, those all help contribute to your final image. You kind of have to play around with the settings and kind of learn and know what you're doing in order to make sure your picture isn't just a white ray of light. That's pretty hard, but I do want to encourage you, like, I've learned it. It does take a little bit of learning, maybe even a bad roll of film. So I kind of suggest like going and shooting around local town or city and just kind of learning the basics. I am going to put a link in the comments for Adobe's website. It has just kind of the basics of photography, reading if you want to get into that. Also just to help grow your knowledge as well. So I suggest checking it out. It should be in the comments. A few last things. I just want to say, like, find somewhere local and support some local businesses that are still trying to keep up with the changing photography world. And so I really suggest going to check out somewhere local to get your film developed. I know there are some online places as well. I'm not as familiar with those. But definitely check them out. Follow and subscribe. There's going to be more videos to come, just of travel and what all I've been working on. And I hope you guys enjoy. Thanks.